Hi guys, Jen Holt here at Inspired by Purpose to bring you your pose of the day. So today's pose is called Sarvangasana or shoulder stand pose. And I'll say it's an inversion, so it's not gonna be for everyone. If for any reason it is not safe for you to be in an inversion, if you've got neck or shoulder stuff going on today, this may not be your pose. That said, there are several ways that we can set ourselves up, either using a chair, a wall, and or a blanket for support. The blanket helps keep our neck safe by having it under our shoulders. And I would recommend having it in this sort of shape. So it's kind of a square shape so that it's big enough to be underneath me and cover my whole shoulders, or be under my whole shoulders. So I'll show you the chair variation first. We're gonna bring the blanket onto the ground or the mat, and then we come onto it. Feet come into the chair, and you also want to make sure here that if you're using a chair, that the chair isn't going to move around underneath you. So if you have like tile floors or wood floors, something that's slick, make sure the chair is either pushed up against something so it can't move, or under something like a yoga mat or a heavy carpet that's gonna kind of catch it and prevent it from moving out from underneath you. If you think there's a chance it's gonna move, then it's probably not a good chair to use or a good prop to use. Another safety tip here, it's very important that we keep the gaze straight up at the ceiling. So ideally, you're watching this video first before you give it a try, because I don't want you turning your head right or left once you come into this pose. That will compromise your neck. You don't want to do that. So gaze stays straight up at the ceiling, shoulders down away from the ears, supported by our blanket. Now I'm going to hold on to the legs of the chair, which is a great way to do it if you can. If not, you don't have to. You can also press hands into the mat. Then I'm going to bend my knees, push my heels into the chair, and here I am. I'm already in a variation of the pose. Again, you could be holding onto the legs of the chair, or you could have your palms pressing down on the mat. You're already here. It's a great place to hold and stay. If you wanted to add on a little bit, you could try lifting a leg one at a time. And then one day you might be able to lift both legs. That'll happen after you support the hips, and then you can play with lifting both of the legs up. Now, if you would prefer to use a wall because you don't want to worry about the chair moving out from underneath you, I'll quickly show you what that looks like. Same basic setup. So we're taking our feet up the wall, kind of like we were gonna go into our legs up the wall pose, except the soles of the feet are gonna slide down onto the wall so that we can push the wall away. And again, you can hold here with your arms extended, supporting you. When you're ready to lift a leg, you'll wanna take the hands under the hips, and you wanna walk the elbows in as close as you can. The elbows are not splayed out, they're hugging in. Then we support our hips with the hands a little bit. You can play with taking one or both legs away from the wall. And it's easiest if we come into this kind of angle, sometimes called half shoulder stand, where we're in more of a V shape. As you start to lift the legs up, that requires more strength, and it's going to be more challenging. Now, if you're ready to do this away from the wall, I'll show you how that's done. I'm going to take my blanket, and then I'm going to lower myself yourself all the way down over it. Shoulders come about an inch from the top of the blanket. And if you feel that it's safe for you to do it without the blanket, that's fine. You can choose to do that. I just usually recommend starting out with it just to make sure that you're protecting that neck. So we bring the arms down. Now, without the wall or the chair, we have to use our own strength to lift the hips and think about stacking them over the shoulders. It's not important that the feet tap down here, but if they do, it gives you a little rest, a little moment to take the hands to the lower back. Remember, we want the elbows in as close as we can get them. Then you can work on lifting one leg at a time, is usually easier, or you can do both at once. And again, you can stay in that half position, supporting the hips with the hands, and the legs are more at an angle. We still get all of the same benefits, just a little less strength building here. When you're ready for the full pose, feet come up toward the ceiling. Think about reaching the balls of the feet just under the toes, extending them up as though you were gonna stand on your tiptoes on the ceiling. Feet are in line with the hips, we're extending up. Sarvangasana, often called shoulder stand, actually translates to all limbs pose. Every limb of my body, every muscle is really working to hold me here. You can hold here for several breaths. When you're ready to come out, you'll lower one or both feet at once, coming back down. And then you can support lengthen out your hands for support. Slowly lower your way all the way out until hips meet the mat. Then you can either bend the knees and tap the toes down, or you can use a little more strength building, core strength building here by slowly lowering the feet down. Now after this one, it's nice to take a little counter pose called fish. By bringing the hands by your sides, palms down, you'll slide palms under the hips, push the ground away with the forearms, point toes, and lift. The top of the head can tap down, or you can lift it off. But the main thing here is that we're getting that space between the chin and the chest, helping to open that back up. So you can take a few breaths there, and then you'll release. So that's our pose, again called Sarvangasana or shoulder stand pose. It's a pretty big pose, so take your time with it. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comments for me. I'm happy to look at those. I hope to see you here in center or online very soon. Thank you so much for joining me today.